Hi felters and welcome. It's getting really autumnal around here. The leaves are changing colour, it's getting colder, and everywhere I looked there have been conkers lately, and I love conkers. So it just inspired me to do a couple of sort of autumnal felts, and I thought I'd show you what I've done and hopefully give you ideas for things you might want to do in the future. Here's a little sneak peek of what we're going to do today and have a look at. Not the pumpkins, they're candles at the back. But let's start with acorns, and I'm not going to go into this in too much detail because it is quite straightforward. One of my patrons, Kathy, gave me some of the acorn cups, so you can find them, especially at this time of year, everywhere. And you just take a little bit of wool, and it really is quite a small amount because the cups are quite small. Thank you, Kathy, for the acorn cups. And we're just going to do this one that's got 3 cups on it. So take a thick needle, roll the wool up. I've chosen my colours so that they sort of all match on the same strand with the 3 of them, and roughly felt it together, and it should be at least a third bigger, because by the time you take a finer needle, I think this is just a 40 triangular, work it round and that's half of it is done there. So and these didn't take me 5 minutes, they took me at least 15 to 20 minutes to do. Roll it between your fingers and see how that one fits perfectly. So put that aside, do the other 2. Like I said, choose your colours carefully. I did do a really bright orange one and it didn't work, so and then pop it in the cup, check they all fit, and then we're going to glue them in. And this is just a Bostik all-purpose glue. I put quite a lot in there so that when you push it in, it definitely catches the wool. So pop it in, check that you're happy with the angle it's at, and then I sort of held it for a couple of minutes, not too long, did the next one, and then did the next one. And they are so easy to do, and they're going to last forever. So really nice sort of little autumnal display. So there they are, all done. My daughter's already after them. She thought they were really cute. And next, because I really like the conkers, and literally within a couple of days they go all sort of shrivelly and dry up. I don't know if anyone knows how to keep conkers looking nice. Do tell me. So take a little bit of core wool. I thought I'd felt some. Take a bit of core wool, felt it together. It's great because it doesn't have to be round. It can be any sort of oblongy shape, or oval shape, so that's quite good. And then we're going to mix together a couple of colours. Now this is a carded wool from Claire's Crafts Creates, and you see how that's a rust colour and then that's a chocolate colour. That's the name of the colours, and I think it works really well. The first conker I did on the right, the lower one, was mainly rust and it was too bright, so the one above was a mix. So card it together. These are little dog brushes that work really well. You don't need to buy the expensive carders, and I card it out at least 7 or 8 times, transferring it from brush to brush, and then you'll find it just all of a sudden starts to mix really well. Pull it all out. You don't actually need that much. So there, that's the first bit, and then I did do a little bit more, and you see how it has mixed quite nicely. It's almost nice if it doesn't mix brilliantly, because it's nice to have the sort of patches of mixed colour. And then felt it on, and again, I haven't felted this all the way through properly yet, the core wool. I'm just sort of all attaching it loosely. Leave a gap underneath for the bottom of the conker. And at the top there, we're going to add some colour. So this is the chocolate in its uncarded form. Pop that on. And it's just, the conkers just have a little darker patch at the top. And then sometimes the patch sort of just goes down the side, down to the bottom. So I just put a little bit going down. I mean, just have a look at, if you have a conker, have a look there. And then right at the top bit, I put a tiny bit of black carded. Really tiny bit, just to give it that depth, that hopefully it works. And it definitely looks like a conker. I did try and put so this is a sort of lighter beige colour I put underneath. I did try and put a little bit of white to show reflection, because they reflect the light so well. And my husband and daughter said it didn't look good, so I pulled it off. But you can have a play around with things. And then I take a fine needle and spend a little bit of time. Again, this is a 40 triangular, going all the way over it. And that does take a good sort of 20 minutes because I wanted it nice and firm. So there we go. You can see the colours coming up, look really good. There was a little bit of a patch where the core wool was showing through, and because it's carded, just take a little bit of the wool, pop it on top and cover it up, and it merges beautifully. So there we go. That's the conkers. And I did decide, just because it looked good and it looked like a bit of a challenge, just to do the outside of the conker itself, because I had picked one up where there's a conker inside it. So I did a ball. I covered it in a green. I can't remember the name of this green. If you really want it, do let me know and I will try and find out. Again, at Claire's Crafts Creates. So cover it over, felt it all over, make sure it's circular so it matches, it's about the same size. And then I did some lines going down to represent the segments. Not like a pumpkin would be more regular, but this one I did slightly irregular. And then we got some scissors and cut through it. And because the core wool is white underneath, it works really well because it looks exactly like the opening where there's the white sort of skin underneath it. So just cut it all through. And then I felted some brown inside, so it looked like there was a conker in there. I could have done this a bit wider, but I thought it was all right. And then the spikes. I tried several different methods before I came up with this. Take a tiny bit of the green and just felt the end of it, roll it over. Nothing elaborate, nothing particularly spiky, just roll the end of it. It's a tiny little piece. But then take it between your fingers and rub it tightly. You can even put it between your hands and roll it a bit more. And that got me the best spike that I was happy with. So leave the end of it fluffy. And then you're going to felt the base of that onto the conker. Oh, it's not the conker outside bit. So just go all around the edge of it. And then give it another roll again between your fingers. If the end bits are a bit too long, you can just trim them with scissors. But I felt that was spiky enough. And then I just did a couple of very small sort of lumps. Sounds funny. And just felted around the edge of them, and they looked like other bits and pieces. And then the segment marks that I'd done, I put a darker green through after looking at them. I thought it would give it a little bit more definition. Very easy to do. But I think, yeah, it just brings it out a bit. And then we're going to go over and do some brown, because it obviously has lots of marks on it just to make it look more realistic. So lots of, this was the chocolate, and then I used a lighter brown as well just to give it a different colour. And then I looked at the top and it had sort of some white and then some brown on top of that again, just to give it a bit of detail. And you could do a couple of other lighter greens around it as well, just to give it a variation of shades. But there we go. So that's that done. So I was quite pleased with that. I thought that was a good challenge. But I do like the conkers. They're a good colour. The rust is perfect. And then I did a little log. This is a paper covered wire, but it's absolutely fine just to use wire and then wrap a pipe cleaner around it, or floristry tape is probably the best because it sticks really well. So I covered it all in brown, and then I covered it in a lighter brown just to give it some shading. And then because I had a little twig at the side, and it has some, what's it called? I can't remember, the lichen in it, on it, you know, the little things that grow on it. And so I created a flat bit, did lots of green dots, and then lots of lighter green and a bit of white. So it looked like it, and then popped it on the log. And then felted that all on just to give it a little bit of detail. I was just having a bit of fun and trying to recreate these scenes. See, there we go. You can see the little twig above. So that was quite sweet. And then I did a leaf. Stencil from Mum's Makery, and it was a cloud stencil actually. Very easy to do, and then put the lines on. So there we go. Those are the extra little bits. So I had lots of fun doing it. My office was a complete mess. I've got all these egg boxes from Claire's Crafts Creates with the little samples in, and the dogs thought the conkers were very interesting. But yeah, I had lots of fun doing it. I hope it's given you some ideas and some things you might do. There's another pumpkin video coming up. I've got a couple of other pumpkin videos here if you can't wait, and click on those and I'll meet you over there. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Take care, everybody.